Hi. So, I wanted to start off with misconceptions that I had about the Constitution before starting this class. I was terrified about the title of this class, thinking that the Constitution was horribly long, which it is, but I was terrified to read it and to have to interpret that and understand what it's about. It just was it seemed like a very daunting task. What I found is, especially with the website you've provided us, with the breakdown of the articles and sections, I found that it's easy to read. It's easy, it's not as daunting as I thought it was going to be. While it's not exactly fun and Friday night reading, it is not as horrible as I thought it was going to be. Things I don't understand about about our system. I get very confused when it comes to the Constitution, the Bill of Rights, and the Declaration of Independence. I get very confused about those and have a difficult time keeping those things separate. But also, in our reading, they talked about the preemption doctrine, and basically it says that no states can do anything that undercuts the federal law. So I get a little confused as to why. I don't understand why states even have that option. Sorry for the camera. I get confused as to why states even have that option. For example, the legal marijuana in Colorado. Why are we able to have that if it undercuts the federal law that's not a legal drug? You know, we had talked a little bit about it in our human resource class. What would we do if we were in a position where in the state it was legal, marijuana was legal, but we had like a no drug policy at our company? How would we handle that? What would we do for that? I just get confused as to why states would have the option to have these laws if the preemption doctrine is in place, and they really shouldn't undercut the federal laws. My view of the appropriate way to interpret the Constitution kind of goes back and forth between the original and the modernist. I think that both are very appropriate. I think there are appropriate times for the original view. I think there are appropriate times for the modern view. I think that there are things that still follow the original view. You know, murder, that's pretty black and white. Modernism, I think, is useful in those cases that with time are changing. So abortion hearings, school hearings, things in regards to those items such as illegal marijuana and legal marijuana. You know, these modern thinkings, these modern ways of coming up with their decisions are needed. Where the original, if you were to interpret it with just the original view, it just wouldn't do the case any justice. Other things I'd like to address about this class, or the materials, I was looking at the final and I noticed that there was not a due date. So I'm wondering what the due date is for the final. But also, where are we finding this case that we're basing these questions off of? And then also, I think that it's very helpful that in session 6 we are doing the PowerPoint for the final so that you can look at that and review that and give us some feedback.